that's enough of that right there. I think that's the most fun you can have in this game right here. It's pretending to be the other Spider-Mans. And may I say, the Amazing Spider-Man has one of the best, actually it is the best Spider-Man adaptation, I will say. I didn't say Peter Parker, the best Spider-Man adaptation. Just the cinematography and some of the action pieces, you know, and just the environment, the movie did such a great job portraying Spider-Man. It had so many things. And yes, I do enjoy the Sam Raimi ones, of course. We're not even going to talk about the Tom Holland ones, but I will say the Amazing Spider-Man, especially the second one, had its moments where it was just good. Some of the, fights with Electro was just pretty good. I even Sam Raimi's one, I really enjoyed some of the swinging in that one too. I will say Tom Holland one barely has any swinging. I don't know what is wrong with it with that movie, but for some reason they never focus on the swinging and giving us some cool Spider-Man. You know what I mean? So that's why I think Amazing Spider-Man has one of the best. If I think of Spider-Man in real life, the Amazing Spider-Man is what's come to mind first. But we're not here to talk about some of these movies, or at least those movies. We're here to talk about Insomniac's Spider-Man movie. And may I say, fellas, it's Spider-Man. If you love Spider-Man, it will keep you entertained in that aspect. But there are a lot of problems with this game also, or at least a lot of things I just didn't like. Even the first one, I did play the first one also. I completed that game almost 100%. I will say of course it's still the same game because this is a sequel. So if you were expecting, I don't know, a different combat or something like that, it's not anything different from there. The only thing that I seen that was a difference is that they add a bigger part or another part of the map. And mind you, I think that part of the map was in some of the old Spider-Man games. I think like maybe Ultimate Spider-Man or something like that. But in this game, you get the other side, and also the story is different. Those are the two things I can say that are different in the game. After that, most of the other things are the same. But I do want to start with the characters. I do want to start with Peter first, as he is Spider-Man. So of course I'm going to start with the guy that's supposed to be the main part of Spider-Man, Peter Parker. I'm gonna come out on a limb and just say the first thing. I hate this this new Peter Parker's face. I'm not a big fan. Of course the older one's better, and I'm not just going on based on everybody else is saying it. No, not really. I've played the original I've played the Spider-Man PS4, and of course that one it fit. And also, this one looks too young. I would say, since he's supposed to be about, 20-something? I'm not sure how old he is. He probably is in his 30s. The PS4 Spider-Man, thank you for that, by the way. Now I'm going to keep saying PS4 Spider-Man. I should just say Spider-Man. So, the first Spider-Man game, the face the Peter Parker had, or whoever's the model, the face model for the Peter Parker, it fit the age. This one seems like he's still in his, he just hit 23 maybe. And of course, when I was talking to my chat, it seemed like they took the Tom Holland face. Of course, out of all of the Spider-Mans you could take their face, they took Tom Holland's face instead of maybe Garfield's one, or Tobey Maguire's one. They went with, of course, Tom Holland, and I think it's just because he's the newest Spider-Man, and everybody, I think maybe Tom Holland one is getting to be as popular, if not more popular, than Garfield's and Sam Raimi's one. I think that's where it's going, and I think that's why they quickly switch it, because I don't know the true background of why they switched the face. But from the speculation I thought is maybe it is because of Tom Holland in the new one. Of course, they picked the worst Spider-Man to put the facial features of the worst Spider-Man, the one that looked the most fanboyish. Of course, they're gonna take that one, but that's just a nitpick, I guess. But that goes Peter. I think he's supposed to be around 30. Peter's actually trying to get MJ to move in with him in this game. Peter is of course cucked in so many ways. There was one part where Peter was washing dishes, he was cleaning his house, you know, and then MJ's just sitting there. I mean, Peter, you would think Peter would be the busy one, right? Peter has, you know, he has so you be Spider-Man all the time. He has no time for MJ. No, it seemed like MJ has no time for him.
Have you thought any more about moving in?
We talked about this. I need to be in the city, close to where the action is.
And MJ didn't want to move just because she's a journalist. And we'll talk about that later also. But Peter is just, that's the main goal for Peter right now. Even though, you know, Spider-Man is supposed to be his main goal, but his main goal now is trying to get with MJ, is trying to get MJ to move in. And mind you, MJ I'm gonna talk about MJ's look later, but what is Peter even fighting for? But I mean, that's all I gotta say about that. I don't know anything else to say. Also, I'm not a big fan of the older Peters. I'm more of a big fan of when Peter's young, around like his 16, 17. I'm not a big fan of grown Peter and having to grow up and do, you know, grown up things. I'm more of a fan of the young Peter, where he's, you know, because in this one he tried to keep the old, you know, cocky way and talking trash, but some of his dialogue are very cringe, even when he's in the Venom suit.
Oh, this feels good. Carlos, you live. Just your boss needs better aim.
Some of his dialogue are extremely cringe, and I'm like, dude, if you played Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man 2 on the PS2, and again, thank you for that, Insomniac. Now, when I search up Spider-Man 2, I'm gonna see this Spider-Man instead of the old Spider-Man 2, right? So, if you played Spider-Man 2 or Ultimate Spider-Man, shoot, even if you played Shattered Dimension, the Peters in that one were actually genuinely funny.
Let's see how he likes it when I turn this cannon to maximum power. What? The laser is overheating? Oh, stupid machine! Work! Work! Come on, work! Problems with your laser, Beck? I hear there are pills for that now.
Like, there were certain jokes that they said. I did play the games again. I generally laugh. I literally went and played it again, and certain quotes that Peter would say in the game actually made me chuckle and laugh. And this one, I had none of that. I don't think I can think of any time where Peter said something cocky or even pissed off any of, you know, his villain that he's fighting, like Kraven. I don't even think Peter, you know, there was one time where we did get to fight Kraven. I don't even think Peter ever got, because if you play any of the old or even watch any of the old Spider-Mans, usually Peter has this cocky way of him. He's always making jokes, despite, you know, even if he's almost losing, he's still joking around. He's pissing off the some of the villains, or most of the villains. He pissed them off, and I think that's a charm that Peter had that is not in this Peter, I would say. And I think it's because he's all grown up. That's my excuse for it, but I'm not sure. It might just be Insomniac. It might just be Insomniac, just terrible writing. That's not even something I would doubt. But I do miss the, you know, young Peter, and that's always talking trash and doing all of that. But I will say also that when he was in the symbiote suit, Peter did get a little base. I think it was one time where he was talking to MJ on the phone and he was being mean to her.
This suit is the only reason I'm still alive.
Yeah, it's pretty great, isn't it?
Why don't you pop some more pills and say what you're really feeling?
Hey, don't.
I think that's the only time Peter, one of his dialogue actually caught my attention. But the thing is, you're in this Venom suit, right? You would think you get to make actual bad decisions, but the only thing you get to do is, you know, be mean to MJ or be mean to Harry. After that, the symbiote suit acts normal. I still go up to people on the street. I, you know, hug on them. I talk to them normally. You know, the suit is still, you know, it's still Peter. It's still this original Spider-Man, but he's only a little angry at MJ sometimes. That's it. After that, they haven't given you any real choice. Like in Web of Shadows, you had an evil choice. You do not get any evil choice in this game. And of course, this is because it's modern games. You cannot, go too far. You cannot be too edgy, which it makes the game less fun because it's like now you holding back what could have been. But I will say, in the Venom suit, Peter, yes, he had his moments where he was mean to MJ, which kind of caught my attention. But after that, Peter was just normal Peter. Still the same. You don't feel even more powerful in the suit. And if I may just look at the suit design real quick, I'm not a big fan of this weird, well, I mean, I guess it goes on, they try to tack on the realism where the symbiote takes over the whole body. But when I get the anti-suit, right? Sometime Peter would actually take off the mask. Is that how the anti-suit work? I'm not really familiar with that. Somebody could educate me on that one. But Peter just takes off his mask like normal. It's like there's no, I guess because there's no symbiote on that one, I guess. I'm not sure. Because what happened was, in the game is Lee, gave him some of his power. Of course, that's where it come from. Lee gave him, but he also had the symbiote mixed with Lee's power. I would think the suit, because the suit still does the same thing the normal symbiote or the Venom symbiote does. The anti-Venom one does the same thing. It spew out goo and stuff like that. Some of the moves are the same. So I'm thinking, why is Peter taking off his mask and not, the symbiote opening and showing his face like the normal symbiote does? You know what I mean? I hope you understand what I'm saying there. But that was a random tangent. But that's Peter right there. Peter's not, of course, he's supposed to be my favorite character in here, but he wasn't. He was all right, but he could have been better. Now, of course, I didn't forget about MJ. We do have to talk about MJ because this is the God, this is the dumbest thing. This is what also ruins the game. For some reason, they switched MJ's facial model with some other girl. I mean, if you even remember the older one wasn't even that good looking either, but at least it wasn't this. You know what I mean? And of course, this is the modern age we live in where women can't be beautiful. Women has to be ugly. There's no such thing as beautiful women at all. It's like Insomniac never met any beautiful women. Of course they don't. I'm sure the women that worked at Insomniac, they all butt ugly. No type of, facial features. Probably subhumans. But of course they will create something like this. And I do want to show you a tweet that the director of Spider-Man 2 said about Gwen being OP, because Gwen seemed not to need Spider-Man in this game at all. Every time Gwen was in some type of trouble, Gwen would get out of her own trouble by herself. She would even help Spider-Man. Mind you, everybody's helping Spider-Man. We will get to that later, but she can help herself. She has a stun gun that is taking down tribal guys, big muscular dudes. One tase gun, and I am punching these guys. Mind you, immersion been broken because I'm punching some of these enemies, and they're very spongy. And you mean to tell me MJ just gets to go around and just zap them, and they fall down instant dead? And MJ in this game also is a journalist, and I know the reason why they did that. They made her a journalist because so they would miss the part. Because if you ever known MJ from the old Spider-Man, she's supposed to be a fashion model, an actress, which means she's supposed to look good. She has to have a beauty. You can't be an actor and be butt ugly. No, you can't be a fashion model and be ugly. So they went this journalist route because they wanted her to be ugly. That is my theory. But now you read this tweet also. I'm gonna put the tweet on the screen that the director said he don't care if he made Gwen OP. He does not care. Can you believe a director, the guy we bought his game, my man's, I don't know who it is, but really said this quote: don't care that he made Gwen OP. So he purposely made Gwen OP. He purposely made Gwen ugly just to piss everybody off and just to settle the ESG score. And you mean to tell me I, a consumer, and mind you, MJ was a fashion model in the old one. That means she looked good. That means Peter had something to fight for. What is Peter fighting for now? Tell me now. Look at the face on the screen. Peter's really fighting for this. And remember, she's supposed to also be a damsel in distress. Maybe not all the time. Fine, I agree. Maybe not all the time. But she's not supposed to be taking care of her own. She's not supposed to be, because what is Spider-Man here for then? If she can do everything by herself, if she can get out, if she can beat guys that can kill Spider-Man, then why is Spider-Man even Spider-Man? Why is Spider-Man? What's the use of Spider-Man then? Just to be cucked? Just to be, simping over her?
I don't deserve you.
What is the point of Spider-Man then? And mind you, in the comics, she was supposed to be a fashion model. I think even in the movies, Sam Raimi's one, I think she was an actress, right? And I mean, look at the two side by side. I know this is a cartoon and I know this is a facial model, but this is what they're supposed to get, where they're supposed to get their ideas and how to make Gwen in this game, right? No, they end up taking some troon. I don't know what that is. That a male? Is that a female? You don't know. This is 2023. Look at it. What is that? No upper lip, no beauty whatsoever. So then what is Peter even fighting for? At this point, Peter might as well just be a bachelor. What is he fighting for if this is what he's fighting for? Come on. And again, we all know the reason why. Somebody got to get their ESG score up. And this is why I truly believe this game will be Game of the Year. It has everything that these people, these higher ups, are looking for in these games. It's tacking on, mind you, we didn't even get to Miles yet. It's tacking on to everything that they want. And you mean to tell me also, and you mean to, again, even I think towards the end, you had MJ helping Spider-Man. Spider-Man is already OP, mind you. And MJ still need their help. This is some Marvel level plot, Marvel level writing. Even the writing, yes, is Marvel level. Like everything. You have Peter just simping over MJ, and you're asking yourself, what is he simping for? What is he simping over? Because this is I don't know what type of creature, what type of subhuman this is, but this is not a female. And also, this makes you think, who at Insomniac thought the old MJ from Spider-Man PS4 was too good looking? We have to downgrade her even more. Who had Insomniac even thought of that? Because that's why they changed it. That's why they went after her face. Because what was wrong with it in the first? Yeah, it wasn't that good looking in the first game, but at least it wasn't this down bad. It was not this bad. So who at Insomniac thought? And of course, none of these reviewers would say this. Of course, because I guess this is not a problem. I will always ask the question, if this is not a problem, then why change her face? Tell me why. Why change it to an uglier lady? Why not find somebody equally as that looks the same as that previous girl, or a better looking girl? Why not? Why? So there's no answer for that. You know the answer, and there's no real answer for that. So, but God forbid a woman looks good. God forbid. That's the worst crime you can have in these games. Don't you love ESGs? Well, if you love ESG, you will love Miles Morales, because you think Gwen is a big deal. Bro, Miles is a even bigger deal in this game. Miles is the savior of this game. Without Miles, it seems like the story would not go on. And here's why. Every time Peter needs help, which you like, and he's in a Venom suit, or he's not, Miles is always there to be better than Spider-Man. Miles is 10 times everything Spider-Man is, Miles is 5 times better. Better animations, better car stopping animations, better swinging animation, a lot stronger than Peter. Has more, moves that are cheese. Like, for instance, there's a move where you can levitate like literally 5 guys at a time in the air. It seems like every time it seems like there's a lot of cases where Peter got in trouble or is weak and Miles has to come as a savior. It seems like Peter's the damsel in distress. And mind you, sometimes there's a part where Miles do defeat Peter in the Venom costume. And mind you, Spider-Man is already OP. Miles is 10 times more OP. I don't know if Miles was like this in any of the comics, which I do not care too hard. But Miles is a million times better than Peter. He does everything. If Miles didn't have some essay, because there's like a plot where Miles have to write essay for his college or whatever to get into college. If that wasn't the case, Miles would be the main character of the game, because there are many times where Peter need help, so many times, and Miles is the one that's there. And mind you, also when Venom, when Harry's Venom come out, which is he's pretty strong, Miles is the one to defeat him at the end. Oh my gosh. Dude, I hope Insomniac enjoyed their ESG score, because this was not worth it. And don't get me started on this stupid haircut that Miles has. For some reason, somebody at Insomniac, I think it's most developers, think every black dude looks like this. Does every black guy look like this? No, thank you. I want to look like a normal, trustworthy guy. I do not have dreads like this. I do not look like this. This is not a accurate representation of any. I don't know. At least me. I don't know about all those other black guys. Do you guys feel represented by this? Does any? I guess the little nigglets that look up to Miles enjoy these dreads that he has. I mean, dude, again, it's not just Miles. This is literally every black dude in every game. Do you really feel the swagger of a black teen now? Everybody that's swinging with Miles, do you really feel the swagger? Dude, I can't believe people get hype when they see themselves, I guess, represented in these type of games. And mind you, they're not doing it just because. Dude, they made Miles literally everything Peter wishes he could be. And mind you, this is a Spider-Man game. And thank you, by the way, Insomniac, for calling both of them Spider-Man. And you will know why they do that at the end. But they call both of them Spider-Man. They don't say like Miles or something, or they don't give Miles his own nickname, or say, give Spider-Man like spectacular, amazing or something. They don't give Peter his own nickname. No, every time they speak, it either says Spider-Man or Spider-Man. And in this reason, I'm guessing is because of the ending, but because there's too much evidence because of the story that's why they call him Spider-Man. Because I don't even think in the Miles Morales game, somebody can prove me wrong, I don't think in the Miles Morales game they call him Spider-Man. And mind you, he takes the spotlight. He is everywhere. He's better than Spider-Man, way stronger. He didn't need a Venom suit to be beastly. He was already beastly. And mind you, Peter was already weaker than him before he got the Venom suit, and he still destroyed Peter in the Venom suit. And he destroyed Harry's Venom by himself, no help. I hope you enjoy your ESG score, Insomniac, because this is the gayest thing you could have done. This is the dumbest thing you could have done. And of course, again, this is not a problem towards anybody else. This is normal, dude. No, man, we need representation. I am going to make a video about representation in the future. But to have this kid be younger than Peter Parker and a lot better, come on. That doesn't make that doesn't do anything for me. That doesn't help anything. God knows Peter couldn't be strong. Peter needs both MJ and the OP Spider-Man, the Black Spider-Man. Help. And I this is not representation. I'm not even gonna go in depth into this, but just know Miles is a lot better than Peter, and Peter's just the super low one. Peter's not even main character of his own game. Peter's not the main character of his own game. I do want to quickly talk about Harry real quick, and I'll also talk about Venom too, because you know he's Venom. Harry's fine. Only thing that was weird to me about Harry was his facial animations and his neck animation. I don't know, something about these motion captures for this game is weird. Even Pete, I think Peter is the most normal one, but something about these player models' neck, they turn, I don't know. Excuse me, I don't know if I can explain this better. But if you play the game, you probably witness it if you, like me, and you see things. But it seemed like, especially Harry's one, Harry's neck seems too small for his head. That's the only thing I've seen that was weird. I know some people gonna say it's nitpicky, but I'm giving you what I've seen. This is a review, for God's sake. This is what I've seen. And also, I was also hoping to see more, you know, background on Harry. The game's already long enough. You might as well show us. We do know Harry's mom is dead. But I did want to see more, like, what does Harry do by himself without Peter there? You know what I mean? I was hoping, like, you know, we see maybe he was like a player or something, or bachelor or something. He is rich, you know what I mean? So something before maybe he got sick or something like that, or what happened after, you know what I mean? So show us a little bit something. They did try to go in depth by showing them in high school, but that's not anything about Harry now. I would like to see Harry now, like, you know, some of the things that he think about, what he does throughout the day without Peter there. But that was the only thing I was looking for, and I didn't see. But after that, Harry's fine. I guess his voice acting is fine. His thing, he's fine. Now, of course, I'm not gonna forget about Miles MJ. You thought I was really gonna forget about? I spoke about Miles, and you thought I was gonna forget about Miles MJ, and I don't forgot the girl's name. That's what I'm saying, Miles MJ. I'm not sure what her name was, but I will say this is another Miles' girlfriend is both black and death. The two things you don't. No, that's but of course she has to be disabled. She is death in the game. And you mean to tell me this is what Miles wanted? Let's be real. This is what Miles wanted. Miles is Spider-Man. That's what Miles wanted. Okay. Immersion is broken. There's no way I'm going to believe that. But Miles' girlfriend is she is death. And you do play a mission of her. There's a mission you play of her. I probably will talk about that later on. But everything is quiet. You can't hear everything because, again, she is death. But of course, she has to be disabled just to tack on even more ESG points. God, I hate these developers. Suck. Why must every game be this way, bruh? I don't even want to go in a deep rant. I'm really holding in. It's so annoying. But this is it, guys. This is it. This is what you get. This is what Miles get as a girlfriend. He's chasing after this girl as death. And mind you, there was many times where they are calling him Spider-Man and doing sign language when somebody can literally see it, but whatever, right? So that's her right there. I'm not even gonna go too far into it. I'm guessing they made her disabled just so people, like, when people like, let's call it out, oh, you're ableist or whatever. If I'm an ableist, so be it. But she is, and I don't know if this is a comic thing at all. I'm thinking this is an Insomniac thing, and again, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I don't want to get in depth into that. That's Miles' girlfriend right there. Now, I quickly want to pass on Kraven also. Kraven is also normal. He's pretty jacked. His accent is there. I'm not gonna say it's a downgrade or upgrade. I can't tell. It seems like it's a Russian accent. I'm not that good in Russian accents, but it seems fine. One thing I did notice about Kraven's crew, though, I don't think I forget about that. Just give him the ESG point also. There was a bunch of women in his crew. If you do play the old games, I do not remember seeing that at all. Maybe somebody can pinpoint that out, but I don't think I've seen that. And this is modern time. Women must be included in armies also. Women must fight. There was one part where when we went to Kraven's house area, there was this woman beating up this man. I'll put it on the screen. God knows what the heck. All the people were cheering and everything. God, what? It actually made me laugh because I'm like, God knows what is happening. Who thought of this? I just want to know who sat there and said, we putting women in this army. We putting women in this tribe thing. We gotta insert women. This is what they need. They need women in there. Who thought of that? God knows. I don't know. But yeah, that's the only thing I noticed about about Kraven. And I also want to talk about Venom too. Venom is obviously my favorite one. Venom is what carried the game. And I will speak about my problem with Venom because there was something they did which was stupid. They could have took advantage of, but they did not. But Venom is fine. The player model is fine. It looks cool. The voice of the symbiote is, I think it's the guy that played Candyman. I forgot his name, but I think that's the voice actor for it, which is fine. It sounds cool. Sound menacing. It sounds, intimidating. It's fine. Venom does have wings towards the end. I do want to point that out. I don't know where the heck that comes from, but that's the only thing I notice about him. Venom is fine. You would like Venom. Venom looks good. Oh yeah, now Black Cat is gay. I forget to say that part too. Oh my god, bro, Black Cat is now gay now. That is official. So she left Peter. Peter turned her gay. This is the funniest thing in the game. Yeah. Oh my god. Black Cat is supposed to be the sexy, mysterious, cool woman character in the game.
Yeah, but
Hey, I can be nice. I don't always bite. Unless you want me to.
And they made her gay. She had Miles help her find her girlfriend, or help her, beat these guys up just so she can get to her girlfriend or something like that. And she not even bi. She just gay. She was like something. I think there was a quote between her and Peter, exchanging quotes, and she was saying something like, it was fun or whatever.
Glad you're all right. Did you make it to Paris in time?
Yeah, I did. Figured I owed you one. Both of you. Even if the other Spider-Man couldn't be bothered to make an appearance.
Yeah, about...
You can save the explanation. We've both moved on.
He's a good guy. I think I'll try to, if I can find it, I'll put it on the screen. But God knows she had to be gay, just so Peter has no choice but to go for MJ. Oh my God, dude. Guys, if that shows you these people do not care. They only care about one thing, and it's this right here. And how many times have I harped about this, man? This is why I truly hate Insomniac now. I'm not a big fan of them. The Spider-Man PS4 was at least okay, the first one. But God, this one, man. But yeah, Black Cat is gay. Now, the combat is one thing I was looking forward for them to innovate on in this game. Because if you remember in Spider-Man PS4, if you ever played that game, that combat was not satisfying at all. There were no combos. There were no, no satisfying feeling. It even tried to imitate the Arkham combat. It had the meter, the combo meter on top. And, it had the dodging, and you get to, get out of enemy weights. You could tell the style they were trying to imitate was the Arkham game. Now, the thing is about Insomniac, they did not understand what made the Arkham games so satisfying. Something about the Arkham game, when you fight, there's an adrenaline rush, especially when you see that combo meter on the top left of the screen, and you're trying not to mess up just so you won't, because as soon as you mess up in Arkham, instantly the meter goes back to zero. Like, I'm talking about very fast. So you gotta literally be flowing in constantly beating up goons, or else it's just gonna move. And usually back then I was trying to aim for 25. I would call it the nuke, but I was trying to aim for a 25 combo and up. And I remember how hard that was, because the combat is actually, yes, you spam square. I can agree, somebody saying, you know, the Arkham games, you just spam square and you know, and then you gotta dodge. It's not true all the way, because there were combos you could unlock, especially in City, and I think even Arkham Origins, even Arkham Knight stepped up more, and you had to use more gadgets. So the game is not just spam square. If you really played the game and unlocked most of the moves, it's not just spam square. For example, you could press square, square, triangle, or square, square, circle, something different. Yes, it's not anything major, but at least it wasn't just spamming square. But there was, like, in the Arkham combat, it was so satisfying when you could, you know, counter many enemies. You could counter 2 enemies at once. Sometimes you could beat them down by Batman having to you know, blind them with his cape, and then he'll beat them down. Dude, the satisfaction of that game was just pretty up there. And the sound, some of the
This'll be easy, Bat. Your mother won't recognize you when I'm done.
bones make when you broke their bones, and the impact, the controller didn't have to shake in your hands in order for you to feel the impact. The sound of Batman's fist hitting some of these goons were just, it made the combat very good. Now this game tried to copy the same thing, and it's not even close. It doesn't even feel close to the Arkham combat. First of all, you have no combos in this game, at least from what I've seen. There's no, you know, square, square, triangle. Even in the old Spider-Mans, if you remember Spider-Man Web of Shadows, you could juggle enemies from, you know, you could juggle enemies in the air, beat them up in the air. You don't even have to land. In this game, you can get enemies in the air, but all you have to do, as soon as you get them in the air, you slowly go down, unless you keep clicking triangle. And sometimes the enemies have certain things they throw in the air just to stop you and force you to fight on the ground. So the air combos are not, there's nothing to counter those certain things that they would throw in the air. It's like this electrical ball they throw in the air just to stop you, so you can force you to fight them on the ground. Now, if you remember in Web of Shadows, you could jump from enemy to enemy. Man, going back to play that game, I see why. I mean, it's not the best Spider-Man game, but the combat, I would say Web of Shadow might have the best combat out of all of them. And so you could jump from enemy to enemy. You could even ride an enemy like a surfboard on the ground. Especially you could switch to the symbiote suit, which had different combos. You could even pick up cars and throw them. This game had so many opportunities, being that it had the symbiote suit and everything. It has so many opportunities for you to be like strong and powerful in this game, but you don't feel it. Even if we go back to Web of Shadows again, there was this move where you could 360 the enemy. Dude, the sound the game produced, and the way the screen shakes and the way it feels, it felt so powerful. In this game, you do not feel that. Even when you're in the symbiote suit, it doesn't feel like you're powerful. It still feels like the enemies are very spongy. I mean, even especially when you get to the Venom enemies, they are extremely spongy. And if you don't turn down the game's difficulty, they will be super spongy. I was trying to play on Spectacular, I think it was. Dude, the enemies are extremely spongy, especially when you get to the Venom enemies. Now, also, the enemies, there's not that many variety of enemies since we're talking about it. think there's that many enemies. I think we fought Sandman's enemies, and that was in the first part of the game. After that, you don't see Sandman again. Then you fight the normal goons that are out when you're doing side missions around, when you stopping crime around the city. Then you got Kraven's guys, which they only thing they added that was new towards the combat from the Kraven enemies were that you could parry. Now, one thing I want to say about Sony's games, they make all of them the same. They like From Software. They make all of their game the same. And I know I probably trigger some From Software fans. I know they don't make them exactly the same, but they kind of are the same. But Sony takes it a step above. In this Spider-Man game, instead of them focusing on combos and unlocking better gadgets and cool gadgets, and speaking of the gadgets, they're there, you could use them, but sometimes they're so forgettable and they're not that useful that you don't even try them unless you probably going in stealthy. Maybe you use the gadgets, but after that you would rarely, at least me, you would rarely tap R1 and try to use the gadget. You would more use the L1 and all the button combos, those runic attacks, just way more. And that's the problem of every Sony game. I noticed this game is exactly like God of War Ragnarok, literally the same thing. There's a parry now, so that makes it even more like God of War Ragnarok. So now in this game, when you're fighting, the thing you are waiting for is for the runic attacks, just so you can spam them. It's just like God of War Ragnarok. You fight. If your runic attack is on, if you the cooldown system, there's a cooldown system for the runic attack. But if you want them to go up faster, you have to fight all of the enemies. You can't just sit there and wait for them to go up, right? Or you have to parry, get a good parry, and then they'll go up higher. So that is the problem with this combat right here. I hate that they copied exactly God of War Ragnarok. You hold L1, you press square, triangle, circle, or X, and you complete a runic attack. And that is the thing I really didn't like about God of War Ragnarok, and then they brought it to this game. If I'm being honest, man, Sony need to throw this away and copy the old games. Even in Spider-Man PS2, Spider-Man 2 PS2, you still had a combo list. You could go in the stores and you could unlock the combos like square, circle, triangle, like cool little combos, at least just to not make the combat repetitive, because it gets very repetitive when you just smash square the whole time, or you smash the 2 triangle and circle just to have a finishing move. And the thing is, you're just waiting for the runic attack to build up and then you spam it again. And another thing that this Spider-Man game did not follow up through to the Arkham combat, right, is how the Arkham combat, you could flow so well. There was a skill with flowing in the Arkham combat, which you cannot do in this game. I really tried to, flow, and the thing is, Spider-Man cannot attack 2 enemies at once. He cannot counter 2 enemies at once. He's not like Batman countering the enemies. He's actually dodging out of the enemies' ways, which makes it pretty hard, because sometimes you'll dodge far away and then you have to press triangle again just to grapple to them again and try to fight them. And most of the time you have to parry some of the attacks. It's just like God of War Ragnarok. There's some attacks you just can't parry, so you have to dodge, you have to jump, which, yeah, it brings a little bit of skills, but as soon as you get your runic attack again, it just breaks every stance. So either way, all you waiting for at the end of the day, the goal is to get your runic attack back up so that you can spam it. And I think that's one thing they didn't get right, was the flow of Arkham and the satisfaction of Arkham. And also, if you remember me talking about this combo meter on the top left, Spider-Man 2, this Spider-Man game has the combo meter on the top. But the thing is, it takes so long just for you to lose the combo that it's not worth trying. There's no like adrenaline rush. There's no actual, you trying to flow with the combat. And this is what I mean about the flow, because in Arkham, once you see that meter, you're flowing and you don't want to break the flow. So you're striving your best just to keep the combo going, and I think that's what really made the Arkham games pretty fun, the combat at least. Yes, it's not the best combat, I'll say, but at least that's what was in there that made it fun, and I think that's what Insomniac got wrong and didn't follow up through, or didn't get to imitate right. So that's that right there. Now also another thing they copied from the Arkham series, and I know some PlayStation fans don't want to admit it, but it is Arkham. Literally, this is ripped out of Arkham into their game. So you can't just say no, it's something else. No, it's not. It's the same thing. So another thing they ripped out was the stealth mode. It's the same thing also. You have, you could hold, I think it's L3, and you can see where the enemies are at. You can be above them. You can even spit a web on the wall for it to, stick to your web, and you can travel in the air, right? And also when you go underneath, when you go above an enemy, you could press square and then you can silently take them down, or you can press triangle, which loudly take them down, just like Arkham. You fly and then you press them, right? But one thing I noticed is the stealth is so boring. It's not, even if you use some of the gadgets, at the end of the day, this is what you're doing in stealth. It's just distracting an enemy. They go check, oh, there's a web right there, or you hit like some type of object for them to go check it, and then you go above them and then you press square. It's not like anything where you could throw batarangs and you could turn off their weapons or stuff like that. You know how Arkham had all your gadgets you could use, and this game is not so. And also the stealth is boring. You're not gonna want to go the stealth route most of the time. I think I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. I think if you go the stealth route, you eliminate fighting more enemies. I don't know if that's true, because I tried to test it and I got so frustrated with the stupid stealth, because there was this one part where I couldn't, for some reason, every time I would press square, they were instant. It's like it was scripted for them to see me, for them to be alerted. So, but whatever. So I think I'm just gonna give them the benefit of the doubt right there. I think if you pick the stealth mode, you will eliminate you fighting more enemies, but the combat is just not there. I was hoping they innovated. They at least copied like Ultimate Spider-Man or something. Like I know they tried to combine all the Spider-Mans together. You could tell, but they didn't really capture any of the satisfaction from all, like Web of Shadows or Shattered Dimension. All of these combos you could do. They didn't really capture that into this game. And remember also, it's so weird when you see Spider-Man playing stealthy. That's weird to me. Isn't that weird to you? Because if you remember in Shattered Dimension, because I did play that game again, the spider that had the stealth power was the Noir Spider, right? And that's something that I seen. All the other Spider-Man had their own uniqueness in the Shattered Dimension one. They had their own uniqueness that you could use to play with them, but Noir had specifically being stealthy. And in this game, all of the Spider-Man, both Spider-Mans are stealthy. So that's another thing that was weird to me. But I will say the combat is just not the satisfaction is not there. I'm not even going to brush over the skill tree, because of course this game has a skill tree. Like we've been discussing, every modern game must have a skill tree, and this one has the same way. And for some reason, it's pretty basic. There's no, I don't need to go in depth and explain it, but I will say, it seems like, how did Spider-Man get all his, powers taken away, or some of the things that we unlocked from the previous Spider-Man game? How is that, we have to re-unlock them again in this game? You know what I mean? Like certain things we unlock, like certain skills we unlock in the previous game, why do we have to unlock it in this game again? And I don't know, man. There was no explanation. If there were, then I guess you can put in the comments. But skill tree is there, and there's no point in going in depth into it. But one thing I did want to talk about is the swinging, because as we know, this is a Spider-Man game. Swinging must be top notch. Swinging must be fun. Swinging must be Spider-Man, if that makes any sense. Now, I can tell this game, like I said before, is trying to combine all of the older games with into one game, and this is this game, because as you can tell, this Spider-Man swinging is kind of like Amazing Spider-Man mixed with a little bit of Ultimate Spider-Man, a little bit of Web of Shadow at that too. But I will say, you could tell that they also took some of their animations from the Amazing Spider-Man movie, which is a good thing for me because I like the Amazing Spider-Man swinging. It's pretty good. Thank God they didn't take the Tom Holland version. Again, we're not gonna go in depth into that, but I will say I like the animations. Now, of course I had some problems with the swinging because it's like you would think if they would combine all of the swingings from the previous games, at least it would be the perfect swing, right? It would be the best swinging, you know, we can possibly ask for. But there are a couple of problems with the swings that I did not see. One thing I will say is the older Spider-Man games, they had a skill with swinging, especially Ultimate Spider-Man, where you would do some of the races against was it the Torch, the Human Torch? I forgot his name, but he was from the Fantastic Four. You would do certain races with him, which will increase the speed of your swinging. And in this game, of course, you go down the list of the skill tree, and you have to capture get some gadgets throughout the city by doing some you know, getting rid of crime and stuff like that, you know, basic stuff, doing side missions and stuff like that. You get some of these gadgets. Even the main mission, I believe, give you some of the gadgets. So after you get some of the tech gadgets, you will now get to unlock more health, more pack-a-punch, and you know, or you can unlock faster swinging. Now, even when I unlocked the fast swinging, it still felt like this game is still brain dead when you swinging. There's even one part where if you activate the glide suit, you don't even have to put your hands on the controller. I figured this out because there was one time I accidentally pressed triangle and it instantly teleported me into the circles. And so I'm like, wait a minute, so you don't need any skills. And I'm pretty sure you can turn, I don't know if you can, actually I'm not gonna say I'm pretty sure, I think you can turn this off, but the game came like this. So if you didn't know, the game just automatically assume that you're dumb. And even the assist swinging also is another thing you have to literally turn off by yourself. The game don't even mention this. So you're swinging, you're gliding through the circles, and you don't even have to put your hands on the controller. It's literally brain dead, and I think that's one of the big problems of the swinging. And also, you can literally, it's so slow where you can change your momentum way too fast. And also, you can't let Spider-Man, you know, Spider-Man can't hold on to a web. For some reason, Spider-Man must let go of the web. If you hold R2, I think it's to swing, right? If you hold R2, Spider-Man at some point will let go of the web by himself. You don't have to click A or B or anything. Spider-Man will just let go of the web and just fly up. Now, if you look at Spider-Man 2 on the PS2, you could hold the web just to change your direction in the game. In this game, you just turn the camera and try to change your direction, you know, turn left or right. And again, in Spider-Man PS2, you could hold the web and he would go up and then he'll go back down the other way just so you can switch direction. I think that was like a skill thing because certain parts you will be swinging so fast you cannot change your direction. So you would have to pre-plan in your head by looking at the buildings and be like, okay, I'm going to hold the web and I'm going to swing this way if I want to change direction. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's one thing that was missing in this game also. And like I said, the swinging is pretty slow. And even if you upgrade it, even if you know, have momentum, it does seem like it's trying to make it look like it's fast, but it still has no skill to it. Even the you know, the gliding is pretty, it seems pretty fast, but it's also brain dead because it's like wind around the city that would just make you transfer pretty fast. And I think the reason that they brought up this web web glider is so that because they unlocked the previous part of the city, or they unlocked an extra part of the city, so in order for your player to glide around instead of swinging, for some reason they gave the brain dead players the web glider, which I guess makes you go faster in the game, but it's still almost the same speed as the swinging to me, because there was you could just look at some of the icons on the screen, like when you're going to a main mission, it has like the number of miles, I guess, you're away, or feet you're away from the mission. And even if you glide or swing, it's kind of the same amount of time you get there. But that's that right there. And another thing that was missing, those other details that were missing in the game for swinging, and it was you couldn't swing while you couldn't hold the web while running on the ground. If you remember Spider-Man PS2, again, this is a great little detail. Spider-Man PS2, you could hold the web and run on the ground and then keep leaping and keep swinging. That's such a cool thing. I could see Spider-Man doing that. If you know how this game has like I said before, has an assist swinging. So when you get close to the ground, the game would like levitate Spider-Man just so you won't hit cars and stop your momentum. You could also take this off, but instead of having this on, they should just have an animation where Spider-Man can just hold the web and continue running with the web and then just pull himself up and leap. That's one thing that was missing. That would have been so cool. They could have added in this game, but they did not. Another thing, like I said before, yeah, they were taking their idea from the Amazing Spider-Man. Another cool thing they could have added to this game was pulling yourself up on the web. If you remember, Ultimate Spider-Man had animation where you could pull yourself up on the web, and you know, that's such a cool thing Spider-Man has that I don't know why they didn't exploit it in this game. If you're gonna combine every Spider-Man game, at least bring some of these cool animations. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if you're Spider-Man, and of course they will have to increase the speed of the webbing, but imagine Spider-Man swinging to the city. In some of the parts, instead of running up the building, you could pull yourself up on this on the web, right, and just swing over it. That would be such a cool little animation. Even if you have to make me unlock it, I think that's something cool they should have had. Another detail that I noticed in the old game for some reason wasn't in this game was that you could use both hands to web. If you remember Spider-Man 2 PS2, again, don't get it confused, I have to keep saying PS2. If you remember, you could swing with one hand, and then there was an unlockable you could have where you could have your other hand swing into the building, which means now you could have two hands on, two hands have webs in it. And if you remember, you could combine that and use the slingshot. In this game, the slingshot is in this game, but you have to unlock it, and then you have to press one button, and you have to hold it for Spider-Man to pull back, and he does a whole animation and everything. When you could have just had the player, while swinging, just make another web. He has two hands. He can't just swing from one hand the whole time, if that makes any sense. Utilize the left hand. He swings with right hand, and if he wants to, stop himself and, gets start up the slingshot, he could just, I think the slingshot was also in Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man also, if I remember correctly. But it was so cool in Spider-Man PS2 that you could just pull out your other hand and then start off the slingshot animation, which is such a cool thing. I was hoping they had, but number one thing I was hoping they actually innovated on was the Spider-Man will be able to pull himself up on the web. Which, if you're gonna, that's something they could have added in this game, but I don't know who's working at Insomniac, what type of Spider-Man fan they are for them not to bring something this cool in there. But that's all about the swinging. I mean, the swinging is fine. It's just too slow, and it seemed like it's brain dead. Like it's sluggish a little bit, and I know that the game tried to make it seem like Spider-Man is going pretty fast with the wind animation around the screen and stuff like that, but I think they should have had it like the old game where you had to have some type of skill to to be swinging out there, because again, this is Spider-Man. I think this is something you must learn over time. You can't just start swinging pretty well. I think if you want the player to really be engaged, they at least got to learn how to swing. I think even Arkham, when you would glide around the city, you would still have to pre-plan your gliding. Despite it was still a little brain dead too, but you had to still pre-plan your gliding. In this game, I could easily swing. The only time you would get a challenge is if you take off the web or swing and assist that the game provides. Literally, you don't even know it's on. You have to go into options and turn it off. Actually, one more thing I forgot to mention too. is for some reason Spider-Man, another thing that was in the old game that I noticed, I was like, this is pretty something they should have had in this one too. Spider-Man you shouldn't go up to a wall and automatically start climbing. It should be that you press a button. That's another thing that would provide skill and, you know, awareness while swinging, is, you know, being able to climb walls whenever you want, not just naturally climb the wall. So that's another thing. And also, when you will be climbing a wall, there are so many weird animations.
You think another hunter would challenge Kraven?
Only if they are fools. Look around. Kraven has given us the greatest hunt.
Holy moly, what was that? I don't know if they patched them, they probably did, but when I first played, I encountered so many weird glitch animations. Sometimes I could not climb the simplest spot in the game, and it's still a problem till this day. And I noticed in the old games, you could climb any little corner, you could go around them or you could go towards them in the older games, because it was specifically, they had a specific animation literally for climbing walls. And also you could combat on the wall. That was another thing in the old games, which is not in this game. And it's like, man, there's so many cool little animations. I wonder, are you serious? Am I hanging from a helicopter? Dude, this is something you can't even do in the new Spider-Man games. How? This is so cool. Oh my gosh. That you could add in this game for Spider-Man to be completely Spider-Man, and they did not. I didn't comment on the, you know, swinging animations. Like I said, Miles for some reason has the better swinging animations than Peter Parker. You could jump backwards with Miles. I think there's another animation where you could do some puzzles or something like that, but that's that right there. I don't know, but all I know is Miles 1 is much more slick, much more cool, better than Peter's, which of course is a disappointment, but that's that right there. The story has to be one of the worst parts of this game. It is. And as you know, I hate movie games, and this game just wastes your time with so many parts of it. It just pads for its runtime is too long. I don't remember the first game being this long and this pacing being so slow. It is glacially slow. And we're going to just speed run through this because the story is literally the worst part of the game. So we start the story with Peter and Miles being in a classroom, and we got Peter teaching the classroom about something. I didn't really pay attention, I'm not gonna lie to you, but this is where Sandman was introduced, and Sandman made an appearance, and of course Peter and Miles has to go stop Sandman, and they did. This is also where the game provides you with the tutorial of the game, it's not as long as Horizon Forbidden West, but it's still pretty long. It is, of course, a Sony game. This is expected for them to waste time. This is also another part where they restrict you. You don't get to visit the open world yet. They force you down this linear path, so you have no choice anyways, right? So you do that, you defeat Sandman. You actually didn't defeat him, actually. You got rid of him. I'm sure he's still in the game because throughout the world, there are Sandman parts that you have to, Sandman missions that you have to do. So you didn't completely get rid of him, or you didn't completely kill him, but you got rid of him. After that, you and MJ went to Aunt May's house, I believe. I don't think this is Peter's house. I think this is MJ's house, or not MJ's house. This is Aunt May's house, because if you go upstairs, I think there's a specific room dedicated for Aunt May. And of course, it's not MJ's house because Peter and MJ was talking about moving in, and MJ doesn't want to. This is where we figure out that MJ is a journalist working for Jameson, and she wants her paper published, blah blah blah. And also she doesn't have the time to move in with Peter. She wants to be near the city where the action is. And mind you, again, Peter's Spider-Man, and he's the busy one, and she's more busy than Peter. Okay, after that, this is where we meet Harry for the first time, and he takes you back to your old high school, And this is where the game kind of introduces stealth mechanics, skipping this part because this is just the game padding for time again, because there were so many cutscenes in this area when they could just show you one cutscene and then bam, the stealth mechanics. There was even one part where you guys started playing basketball, so we're not even gonna get into that. This is also where you figure out that Harry wants you to come and work with him. Now, there's something I didn't point out. You also lost your job as teaching when you came back to the school after saving the world from Sandman. You come back to the school and the teacher fires you, and I think this was some black teacher. We're not gonna get deep into that, but the teacher fires you, and of course you conveniently get a cool job to work with your best friend. And mind you, where was Harry this whole time? I don't even think the game explains all of this, but that's that. Then we get a scene of Kraven entering the city. This is one major plot hole, because how did Kraven just enter the city without nobody, no police, no feds noticing him getting in there? As soon as he enters, it shows a cutscene or a scene of him targeting, or of the targets he's coming, why he came to the city, because he wanted to target all of Spider-Man's villains. He wanted a new challenger. Seemed like Kraven's bored of his life and he needed somebody to challenge his hunting abilities. And of course he came because he's heard of Spider-Man's villain, so he came to the city just to target them and pick them up. So Peter and Miles made their way after that scene to a ship where Kraven's crew was targeting. They were targeting. I think this is also where you meet Young Ye. And of course, I didn't finish Miles Morales, and it seems like Miles have a vendetta against him because he killed his father. But I know the true reason is because he saw that voice acting for the new Yakuza game.
If you want to die, step up!
That is the true reason why Miles is after Young Ye. But this is where we meet him, and also this is where I figured out that the game plays itself, because there's a lot of timed event in this area. What happened if I miss one of these time events? I want to see.
Hang on to something!
Oh, he has another alternative vessel. What? Oh, they're dead. What? 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 I didn't press the guy started the boat by himself. He didn't even need Spider-Man or Miles. And if you could just press the wrong button, the game would just never mind that and just focus on just making the next scene happen. So you cannot kill Spider-Man in this. And remember, the old games also had button prompts, but if you failed them, you had cool different outcomes that could happen, like cool Spider-Man deaths. Like Spider-Man 3, if you remember, you press random buttons or you miss the button prompts, Spider-Man can have a cool death animation. Now in this game, Sony, this is exactly what was in God of War Ragnarok. You miss a button, or you press the wrong button, or you don't press the button at all, nothing happens. Or in this game, it's worse because the game continues. And you don't get to mess up, or you don't get to do anything wrong in this game. The game babies you. Not only that one part of the swinging where you don't even have to put your hands on the controller, it automatically does it for you. No, this game, even in the crucial parts, the game carries you and babies you. And I'm not even gonna keep ranting about this, because this is something all Sony games have. And yes, this is the first time we've got some button prompts, and of course you cannot fail them. Then Peter, after all of this happened, because then they got Young Ye, they captured Young Ye. So now Peter went and investigate on Kraven. He went to this base. This is where he figured out that Kraven is building weapons, and also this is where you found out that Kraven killed Scorpion without nothing. Scorpion just went down like a chump.
You were a killer. Imagine my disappointment.
Imagine my disappointment after finishing this trash game. Then for some reason MJ sends Miles to investigate on Black Cat, because I think Black Cat was the next target. So instead of sending Peter, she didn't send Peter because
You can get kind of blindsided by Felicia.
Peter will be blindsided by Felicia. Okay, I guess she's jealous. I don't know. Peter already got cucked enough in this game, so I'm not gonna go any deeper. There's also where you find out she's gay.
Not that it's your business. My girlfriend's in Paris,
Girlfriend?
and I got her into trouble with some bad people. Have you ever done something for love?
Girlfriend?
She needs me now.
I already mentioned that. After you save Felicia, Peter and MJ and Harry went to an amusement park. Gosh, this might be the most boring part of the game. And mind you, I didn't even brought up the part where you play as a DJ as Miles. That part's just even more boring, but this part's worse. Then some bad guy shows up and you end up beating them. How the game plays for it. Trans flag, I saw that, go back. And that's that. And the game, not going to rant. It's just so boring. You beat the guys and then you move on. After this, Felicia led you to Tombstone, who was captured by Kraven, and you as Peter Parker went by yourself actually just to save Tombstone. Now that's because Miles had to do some type of essay for his school, his college or something like that, but you went there by yourself, and out of nowhere Harry came just conveniently out of nowhere with the Venom suit, some Venom suit on. And actually I think this was just the start of the Venom suit copying Spider-Man suit, I think, because it was all over Harry's body, and I'm guessing this is what the venomous thing was doing. So he just came out of nowhere, and you wonder how he got there. I don't know. The game didn't even explain how he got there. He just randomly appeared and he was like he's helping Spider-Man, and you save Tombstone and you get out. After this, we passed some more time with Miles dealing with his black community problem. Instead of stopping that riot that happened in New York because of the PS5 giveaway from that one YouTuber, Miles decided to help his school find a saxophone, or help his mom. I don't know, but I know this part was boring. We're just gonna skip over that part. You went in with some spider bot, and oh my gosh, dude, it's just them just padding more and more time. I'm telling you, there's so many spots in this game where they just sat there and waste your time. So after the Tombstone event, Peter and Harry was looking for Dr. Connors because of course he was next on the list. They got Young Ye, they got Scorpion, and they almost got Tombstone, and we saved them. So I guess Dr. Connors Lizard was next on the list. So out of nowhere we get another scene after that showing how MJ just out of nowhere figured out where Dr. Connors were, even though Spider-Man and Harry couldn't find him. But out of nowhere she just figured it out. I don't know, the game never explained it. Either I'm not paying attention or the game really did a very bad job of explaining it. But out of nowhere she was in one of Kraven's hunters' van and she got captured, and then we get treated with another MJ section.
Let's talk about the MJ missions a little bit.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Because you made her like the most OP character in the game. Let's just get it out there.
She's OP.
One shot everybody.
She's OP. I knew that those missions weren't the fan favorites coming out of Spider-Man 1. We knew we had to make her more of a proactive, capable person. And if she's low OP, I don't give a shit. It's important to have her be a capable hero. You know, this might sound cliche or whatever, cheesy, but like you don't need to have powers to be a hero.
Which God knows, man. Nobody was asking in the previous game. Nobody asked for more MJ sections, but the developers decided, yeah, they need more MJ sections. Why? Because females must be empowered, and we love females. Female must be number one. God, I hate these developers so much. They don't even try to make that game. They don't even hide it no more. No more subtle. This is strictly just they throw it in your face and you have to accept it or not, or you're a racist or bigot. Then so be it, right? Oh, and I forgot to mention during this stealth section, for some out of nowhere, when the developer said MJ was OP, MJ is way better than Spider-Man. When I mean way better, guys, she is OP. Out of nowhere, she just learned Kraven's language, and there was a part on the radio where somebody was contacting one of the people that one of the henchmen that was there, right, which was a woman, one of a henchwoman, whatever. We're not gonna get deep into that, but he was contacting her there, and she ended up just looking. MJ looked around after defeating the henchwoman. She looked around, and out of nowhere, she just learned their language, and then she, of course, she cucked them. On the phone, but I'm not gonna go deep into that. But I don't know, she just learned the language. When the developer said that MJ was OP, he was not joking. MJ is 10 times better than Miles, 10 times better than Peter Parker, of course. Now, during the stealth mission, MJ ended up finding Dr. Connors. Then Peter and Harry came to help her out because you remember she did get captured. And then Chad Kraven stabbed Spider-Man and just threw him out a window. And then magically the symbiote ended up transferring to Peter, and then, you know, Peter got healed and then he started using the suit. Now, during this also, Dr. Connors did turn into the lizard and ended up running away and jumping out some type of window, and he ended up getting away. After this, Peter went to Dr. Connors' house, couldn't find him there. Now, and by the way, why are you inside this symbiote suit? For some reason, you can't do anything evil. You can't do anything cool. You actually, in fact, you actually help people around the city. You actually do side missions that the way they made Peter in here make him so angry and, you know, so masculine, you would think he would not help some of these, you know, some of these citizens in the street, but he's still nice. Peter, he's still waving at people, he's still pretty cool. So either way, the symbiote really didn't do anything, just made Spider-Man's suit black technically, and he's a little mean to MJ and Harry. After that, he's literally still the same Spider-Man. He's nothing different. He's not as strong as you think, so the symbiote suit technically did nothing. Now, after Peter didn't find Dr. Connors at his house, we ended up finding him in some type of sewage area, and then we ended up fighting him as a boss fight. I am skipping like half of these things because most of them are just you traveling here, getting some information a little bit and cutscenes, and then bam, I'm trying to get to the point, right? So you ended up finding Dr. Connors or the lizard, and you ended up fighting him. Now, if I may give Insomniac a point, I do like the way the model that they choose for Dr. Connors here, the lizard, because it looks kind of cool. It's pretty big and it looks scary, so I will give him that. The model looks pretty cool. But I also will say some of these boss fights, this goes for every boss fight, including Venom. The boss fights are literally the same. You attack, spam, runic attack. You would think it's a little different from the normal common enemies you would fight, but it's the same thing. Sometimes there are things you can use around. I will say you can use around the environment, just like with the lizard. You can open some vents or some like hot bed or something like that that wouldn't mess them up, or it would stun them for a little bit and you get some attack in. But after that, every boss fight is the same. You will feel the same fighting Venom. You will feel the same fighting Dr. Connors. You will feel the same fighting Kraven. It's the same thing. You punch, spam runic attacks. Now, after you defeated Dr. Connors, Peter went home, and base Peter got so mad at MJ, or he was mean to MJ during that. So MJ had like some type of project going on, and she wanted him to read it first before she published it. But then she ended up publishing it anyways because Peter was mean, and she knows it's the symbiote suit doing this. By the way, for some reason she's saying Peter's acting different. Of course, it's because of the suit. He was never like this before. But whatever, right? So she ended up publishing the thing, And while Peter was trying to go to sleep, the symbiote like took over somehow and made Peter go wild. And I think Peter still was asleep during this, right? But Peter at night just went out of the window, and then he he started going. You could hear like outside him going wild. Now also we get treated with another MJ section.
Hey, the hell's going on out there? You know me.
Is that a random random black lady just came out of nowhere? That's hilarious. MJ just getting everything right. So we get treated with another MJ section, and I'm not even joking, man. I killed her at least 4 times on purpose here. Now after all of this happened, Peter woke up the next day and didn't even know what happened. Of course, that's how we knew that the symbiote suit was doing all of the work. So he woke up. Now after that, we went after Kraven, because Kraven did capture Miles. I forgot to say this. Kraven did capture Miles, and Miles was, instead of killing Miles, he decided to test Miles. And you get another boss fight in this part. You get to fight Young Ye, and after you defeat Young Ye, you get to you actually got through to him. With great power comes great responsibility, whatever. Emotional, he turned into the good guy. Now during this also, Peter went and looked for Kraven, and he ended up finding Kraven. He went to his mansion at first, actually. And this is another part where it's just taking your time. He went to the mansion, didn't find Kraven there. So he ended up finding Kraven at a church. Then after that, we looked for Kraven and we found him. And then we get to fight Kraven. This is where we get the big boss fight. The boss fight everybody was waiting for. And may I say, this is another disappointment because it's nothing. Guys, it's not exciting at all. None of the boss fights are exciting. I'm not even trying to be only negative, but it's not exciting. It's nothing fun. It's nothing new. It's literally God of War Ragnarok reskin with Spider-Man. It's nothing new. It's not innovative. Nothing. And I know I complain about this all the time, but it's true. Nothing is good in this game at all. I haven't found, maybe the graphics are good, but I guess we'll talk about that later. It's not, the boss fights are what was supposed to at least give them a point, and it wasn't even that interesting. So now during the Kraven fight, you ended up defeating Kraven, right? And out of nowhere, Miles come out of nowhere just to be the savior again for Spider-Man, because remember, Spider-Man is still inside the symbiote suit, so he's technically evil. So, and with quotation marks, of course. So you ended up defeating Kraven. He comes out of nowhere and he tried to convince Spider-Man he doesn't need the suit, blah blah blah. And mind you, again, like I said earlier, Peter is very OP. Spider-Man is supposed to be OP. If anybody read the comics or watched any of the old shows, Spider-Man is supposed to be OP. Once he get the symbiote, he's even more OP. So Miles just came out of nowhere, and so they designed this boss fight around it. So you ended up fighting Peter, and you ended up defeating him. After this, Peter just apologized for being white.
These last few days, Miles, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Apologize, you whitey.
For everything.
Bow down. Bow down, Peter. Oh my gosh. And he took the symbiote suit off, and we move on. So then after this, we get another boring Miles mission, but this one we have to talk about because earlier, remember when I talked about how there was a mission with Miles' disabled girlfriend? Well, this is the mission. Right after this, they throw you into this boring mission. So I'm just gonna fast forward through this also because we already talked about this, guys. I don't want to keep complaining about it. So you ended up playing as her. She was a graffiti. Somebody, I guess, was graffitiing around this guy's store, and we're not gonna get into that for sure. But so Miles' girlfriend went over the graffitis and painted a better looking graffiti or something like, or more presentable. I'm not sure. I don't know why. Instead of getting rid of the graffiti, she made it even worse by adding on to the graffiti, which in the store ended up, the store owner didn't even care about it. He actually, and mind you, this is not real life. Imagine you had a store, somebody graffitied all over it, drew all over it. Somebody came out of nowhere and just drew all over it, all over the graffiti that was already there. And for me to accept that, but okay. So we found out that she went around covering up the original graffiti with her like type of art, and also she met some, so it ended up being a girl that was doing this graffiti around the store. And also we figured out that she's actually good because she's looking for some type of art school or something like that. I don't know, man. I'll put it on the screen. I did not pay attention to this at all, but all I know is she was committing a crime and she got away with it. And Spider-Man, you mean tell me Spider-Man didn't reprimand her for that? But okay, because graffiti is a crime, guys. No matter what you say, it's a crime. So you can't make it a good thing just because at the end she was, she's an artist anyway, or blah blah blah. I don't know. I'll put it on the screen again, but all I know is this part was extremely boring. So after defeating Connors, we figured out that the symbiote does attach to people and blah blah. The more it attached to you, the more it becomes you, or whatever, it takes over you. We all know what the symbiote's all about. So after that, Peter decided to take the symbiote back to Oscorp for some reason, but this time he didn't want to allow Harry to have the symbiote, of course, but Harry's also dying, so he does need the symbiote. But we figured out that Harry's dad is also working on another cure or something like that, but he brought it back to Oscorp, and this is where we figure out this is another big plot hole in this story, because usually Spider-Man has a spidey sense, so he knows when danger is about to happen. He knows, he's aware of it. But for some reason right here, because in this part Harry found Peter Parker, right? He found him, and they were arguing about, give me the symbiote and blah blah blah, and then he ended up swinging at Peter, and Peter just stood there, didn't even move, no spidey sense, no awareness. It's like, what happened to Spider-Man's spidey sense? Does it just disappear whenever the plot needs it to? It can't. And this was the simplest attack you could do on Spider-Man. He just swung the cane at Peter, and then bam, he broke the case that the symbiote was in, and the symbiote got out, and the symbiote ended up attaching to Harry again. And yes, finally, after hours and hours of cutscene and boring gameplay, we finally got to Venom. And yes, they allow you to play as Venom, and I will say, yes, it was kind of cool, but of course I do have my problems with it, because of course I do. Now, the first problem that I had with this with the Venom suit is that you cannot feed on people. You cannot so when you're trying to heal yourself, you just heal. Literally, just press down on the D-pad and heal. You don't feed on people. You don't eat them. He's actually not gruesome. He does some moves where he slams a couple of enemies, but he does not feed on anybody. He doesn't feed on the innocent to replenish his health. If you even remember in Ultimate Spider-Man, you could actually eat some of the innocents, or at least feed on them just to replenish your health. You can feed on the bad guys to replenish your health. I mean, this is clearly the route they were going for, but they just wussed out and did not follow through. And my second problem with this Venom, actually, before I even move on, if you remember, even in Ultimate Spider-Man, you could even feed on a kid. I don't remember if I have the footage, I'll put it, but I remember you could feed on a kid. Your first feed was probably a kid, and it was way darker than this game, right? So my second problem with this section is that you can't even free roam as Venom. You just fight a couple of enemies, and then bam, you get to a Kraven boss fight. And I will say, this part is the best part. After you fight Kraven, you bite his head off. And I will say, I gotta give Insomniac that. Fine, there you go, some good pointers. They got the balls to allow you to bite his head off, and now I guess that was cool. But after that, you don't play as Venom ever again. That's the only time you play as Venom, and you don't get to free roam. You don't. So they give us this opportunity, and they don't follow through with it. They don't exploit this. So many things this game could have done, guys. So many things they could have done. Forget the T rating. There's so many things they could have done, and they did not execute. They could have made you free roam with Venom, maybe, you know, cause some chaos around the city or something, or you have to fight Spider-Man or something like that. Give us something. But no, they did not. So to go a little bit faster, I'm going to summarize the end plot very quickly. You ready? So keep up again. So after this, Venom decided he's going to heal the world, I guess by infecting everybody in the world just to heal them, right? Remember the quote we had in the trailer, whatever, healed the world. So, but he wanted Peter to actually join him, and of course Peter is not going to. So Peter ended up, the team got together, because remember, we got to be great together. We can't be great by ourselves. So the team got together, formed a plan. We ended up fighting, actually Peter ended up fighting Venom at his school, at the high school again. Then Venom ended up defeating Peter, and then after that, it took Miles to come and rescue Peter again, just to tack on, just to piss you off even more. Peter couldn't even handle his own battle, and he had the anti-venom suit, guys. Anti-venom suit means it's extremely strong, and it's a Venom's weakness. But no, Miles is Venom weakness, and Miles is the one that came and saved everybody. And after that, Peter ended up retiring.
Pete, wait, let me start again. I got this. All of it. Go be Peter Parker for a while.
Or at least for now, just so he can settle down with MJ. And by the way, I skipped over all the parts where MJ became a Venom too.
Just want to stay the stronger half. Come on, don't feel special anymore.
What? No! You're stronger than me in so many ways!
What? No way! There's no way they wrote this. There's no. What?
No! You aren't!
What? And Peter was apologizing, saying she was strong. Don't think I forgot all that. I just skipped all of that because, guys, this video is already long enough. Is Spider-Man dead? Oh my gosh. To me, Spider-Man died. But I'll tell you when Spider-Man actually died for me. At least when I started being less interested in Spider-Man. I think I've said this before. Spider-Man is one of my favorite heroes. And I think Spider-Man died around Spider-Man Homecoming for me. After I seen Spider-Man Homecoming, I think that's when I started losing interest in Spider-Man, because I think Tom Holland's one really ruined it, in my opinion. Because I think I watched all of the Spider-Mans. Actually, I watched all of them. I did watch the shows, of course. Spectacular is my favorite one. But in the movies, I did see all of the subtle, propaganda. I did watch all of the movies. I've seen all of them. I think it died around Homecoming. It was so boring. I feel like Peter just didn't have the Spider-Man. Like that Spider-Man just wasn't Spider-Man. I think because he was being carried by Iron Man, he just was not Spider-Man. And man, I think that's that right there. But after all those bad things I've said about this game, are there goods? Yes, there are. Like I said, the Venom sections were pretty good. I think the suits were pretty good. They brought back some old suits. They had the symbiote suit, Black Spider-Man from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, and I may say, man, I love that suit so much. I think that suit looks so cool. But they brought that. I think they also brought Noir Spider in there. They brought my favorite suit from the previous game, which was the Punk Spider. That was literally my favorite suit in the first game, and they brought that back. And I guess you can also take that as a bad also, because they didn't technically add any new suits. Like all the 78 suits that they talked about were just all different colors, and had also Miles one, they were just mostly different color. I think one of Miles one was a Black Panther suit, which I guess was cool. We're not gonna talk about that any further, but I think my favorite suit out of all these suits that they provided for this game had to be the symbiote Sam Raimi's Spider-Man suit, and the Amazing Spider-Man, of course, and of course the Cyberpunk Spider-Man. I think those are my favorite suits out of everything. But anything else that's good, I will say the graphics is cool. Swinging as Spider-Man around the city is cool. Those are cool things. And again, of course, I had my problems with them, but they were cool. I'm not gonna take that away from them. They were things. It was good in the game. I'm not gonna go try to shill it anymore. But guys, I truly despise this company because they have ruined Spider-Man, in my opinion. I hate that, Spider-Man lost, his edge. He lost his coolness. Spider-Man also had this quirkiness to him, which he lost. I think, also Spider-Man being a nerd and very smart, and is another thing he lost here, because there was one part where I think even it took Miles to figure out how to put sounds together just to mess with the symbiotes, and Peter couldn't come up with that by himself, which is so disappointing. There are a lot more problems with this game that I did not bring up, of course, because the video would have been at least 2 hours long, I think, if I would have kept ranting about everything. But this is what I conclude to. The game, for me, it was ruined. I really despise Insomniac. Should you buy this game? I'm sure you already made the decision probably by now, but if you really want to hear it, no, of course you should wait till it goes on sale. Maybe you should try it out. If you like Spider-Man, you'll like swinging and messing around, and some of the side missions. I didn't even talk about the side mission, the world, which I didn't even talk about. I cut out a whole section about the world, but the world looks good. Of course, it's more gayer than ever, more colorful than ever, but we're not gonna talk about any deeper about that. I'll just mention it. But fellas, thank you for watching this far. If you got this far, I appreciate your comments. I'm sure, again, maybe this video won't get in that many views either, but it's better I release it. Better late than sorry. It's not always about the views. It's about at least the people that wanted to watch the video. Well, there you go. Hopefully you made it this far. Hopefully I wasn't too boring. Hopefully the video was at least entertaining somehow. And yeah, that's all I got.